All right, so Yoda. Why Yoda? First thing, he's got a pretty insane card filtering ability. Not only is it a combo that you could pair with something like You're My Only Hope, I'm sure a lot of people have keyed in on that so far. But also, one cool thing is once you get his ability rolling, you can start to dig through your deck for answers for what your opponent is doing. So having access to that extra card can be super helpful. And then there's some other cool combos. You can pair it with C3PO or that new card. I think it's called Foundling or Foresight. Sorry, Foresight. That can, get you drawing cards, and having a big hand is obviously going to give you more ways to deal with your opponent's threats. And then once we flip him, look at that, see? Pretty nice. Once we flip him, he's got the ability to take someone out. So whenever you have a deploy that deals with your opponent's board, right on deploy, that is something we're looking to take advantage of. Discarding a 7-drop off your deck can be kind of sad to lose it. However, when you're dealing with your opponent's 7-drop and dropping a 4/9 restore 2, you're feeling all right. So those are the reasons why you're going to jump into Yoda. And now we're going to kind of look at what pairs best with him. All right, so just looking at the bases, looking at the color palette that's available, I'm just going to run through kind of considerations with each color here. So for double blue, obviously you're looking at stuff like Vigilance. You're looking at, the new removal card Equalize, which could be good given, people's proclivity to go wide with either droids or some of the aggro decks. That could be something that really benefits you. And then you have some other stuff like Sugi to kind of fill out a deck. But yeah, your main draw here is going to be Vigilance. It's going to be, the ability to play that on 4, which is, a huge boon. So we're going to really lean into kind of an attrition war, gaining health through restore, and kind of putting our effective life total pretty high. But obviously we're missing out on, a spread of removal. We're missing out on more access to Jedi, right? And Force users, because we're only in one color. Green, obviously, first thing I think of green is ramp. But it also means home 1, which can be really good. In something as small as Battlefield Marine can go really well for Yoda because he's able to kind of trade early into all, most, if not, well, not all, but like a vast majority of the first turn plays, which then can get the engine going. We have new cards like Hu Yang. We have the General's Blade. So there's some really beautiful options in green. Beautiful. I don't know why I said that word. We're keeping it. You could look for ECL. However, when you have a 7 deploy leader, 25 health is super spooky, especially when you can't do things like cast Vigilance for 4. Red, again, we could talk about Tarkin Town. However, 7 cost leader, very spooky as well. Red is giving us Force Throw, which is obviously an insane card. A suite of red removal, which again would pair very well with Yoda. And then some top end cards like a Crate Dragon and the Control Mirror. Mace can come down and either be discarded through Yoda's ability or through or just, help clean up the board. You also have like Poe to cheat out on 3. So this is looking like a pretty attractive option. Deal with our opponent's early threat. If we hit the You're My Only Hope into Poe, that sounds pretty dope. And we have some good space, some good early drops. So the early drops, you have your Sabines, you have some of the new 3/2s like Jin, and you have A-Wing. So you can kind of fight their early game a little better. And then you also have like a discard suite, right? Like when we think red, we think discard, we think K2s, Force Throws, Pillage, stuff like that. So you're going to have kind of ways to fight into both archetypes, the aggro and the control. And then we have Pike, Place, or Yellow, or Cunning. And Cunning's very interesting. Cunning with, blue, yellow hero has the most. I think it's still, probably. You can fact check me, but it has a very high density of Force users. It used to be the most. I'd have to double check. I think green got a ton this set, so it could actually be green now that has the highest percentage. But we also get things like now there are two of us. So now we become this kind of combo deck, right? We have You're My Only Hope, and now there are two of us to cheat things out early. Obviously, You're My Only Hope is kind of a little more widespread, right? You just have to have the thing on top. Whereas there's the qualifier in now there are two of us. You need just one person out there to start, and then the matching traits. So that would be something to explore. We also have a lot of bounce, and bounce, especially with the new card, will trigger Yoda. So you can kind of do this thing where you're tempoing them and digging. However, that on paper sounds really good, but in practice can just be like you're not really doing anything. So you would need a pretty good top end there. So after weighing in all these options, I think that I'm going to lean towards double blue and red, although noting that like yellow could be really sick. I just wonder if it has enough early, like blue, yellow space. You have the Falcon, which is interesting because you can untap it to set up You're My Only Hope, like when you bounce it. So say you lead like, droid, You're My Only Hope, Falcon, you let the Falcon bounce and you play like, something with You're My Only Hope. That kind of sounds hot. Maybe I just convinced myself. Well, let's take a peek. All right, so I'm going to go into Deck Builder. Let's see if I can keep it in one shot for editing, Maddie, make it a little easier. So people told me they want to see the card. So, you know what? Let's look into yellow real quick. And obviously with Yoda, the big things we're going to do is we are going to look at, now there are two of them, because of the fact that we will have R2 in this color and we have Yoda's filter ability, we'll actually be able to more reliably do this kind of combo. And then You're My Only Hope. Obviously just pairs really well with Yoda. You can filter what's on top and then manipulate that. So, you know what? Let's get a little combo-y with this deck. I think that would be really fun to build and talk about. So now that this is our shell, right, we need to start looking at traits for You're My Only Hope. And from now there are two of them, and then we have to look at 5 drops for You're My Only Hope. We're putting in R2 because R2 can filter, dig for the combo pieces, and he's got a good body to kind of trade. And we'll talk about some things that are going to help us facilitate that, like pumps. Okay. So we're going right to the 5 drops because both of these have the ability to bring out 5s. Okay. A 5/5 for 5 with Republic Clone Trooper. The ability to bring some clones back. Interesting. And you could set it up by dropping a clone with our friend R2. However, I am a little suspect of that because I don't know how many good clones there are. And he just comes in and like is a 5/5 Zab. Someone could just play like, their 3-drop could like pump up with a blaster or something and take it out. So that is not the most attractive thing for me. However, we can't do vehicles, so we're going to skip you. I'm looking at Kimundi and Plo Koon. When you can drop a turn 2 5/7 with force traits, that seems really broken. It's Republic, so it matches our good friend R2, who is used to dig to get our combo. So even if we can't, say, take advantage of Yoda's ability, we can still dig with it. So let's do Kiamundi and let's do Plo. Plo comes in. Even a 3/6 ambush is going to be pesky for someone to deal with. And then presumably your 4 and 6 health guys are going to live, and you can play something else to get that coordinate going. We could look to Rey. Rey is an interesting option, but I personally, and like maybe we want to go a little bit higher into this. The problem is like, what's our 2-drop force user? It's probably like Guardian of the Wills, which is not easy to keep alive. And there aren't very many resistance friends coming out there into the mix. So we'll keep an eye on other 5s to drop in, depending on our, like we could do some Underworld stuff. We probably can't do Mando stuff. I don't think there's too much. Okay, so that's That's kind of like the big combo there, right? One of those two. I kind of like this card. It's like one of the things I've learned with Exploit, and I did it at the pre-release, was when one of my cards was like effectively kind of dead. Like it had a lot of health on it. It was just going to get mopped up by something. I exploited it out. So I like the ability to go like very tempo. And like one of the problems I identified early with this type of deck was that the idea of bouncing but not advancing the board state. Well, now we can. That seems pretty good. So we might play this guy. Obviously, you can't cheat him out. He's a vehicle, but we cheat him out in a different way. Chewbacca's interesting for the sideboard. There are definitely some good underworld options with the droids to start. The droids being, well, there's only one droid, L337, and I guess Crafty is not a droid, Crafty Smuggler. So you could do something there. That's an interesting thing to keep in consideration for. Against aggro, you could like play Chewbacca and then really early, and then suit it up with like a Jedi lightsaber, and be pretty problematic for your opponent. So that might be like sideboard plan, because like you could definitely, and I want to make sure my head's not in the way. I got a lot of comments about that. We'll put Chewbacca into the sideboard because like when we go into our early drops, something like Crafty. And we want, so Grogu, right now, Grogu's Force, right? You can see Grogu. Again, Grogu very sticky, is able to pin your opponent down, pins leaders down, and now we're going to throw these guys. So that we have Republic, we have Force. Very nice. I'm going to put in the sideboard like an Underworld suite. When you're trying to build around, now there are two of them, I would think about some of the villain Underworld things that you can do. I know that, Boba could probably take advantage of this, so I'm going to put like an Underworld suite in the sideboard just to kind of keep a consideration for it, because if you can like play, Cartel Turncoat could be like part of that. You could play like McClunky, and, I know a lot of people play McClunky and Boba, but there is the option to play it in Hero. There are good, what are they called? There are good Underworld early drops. They need a little help, right? Like L3, you can see him. L3 might need, like a shoot first or something, but like, I think that card's actually super underrated still. Shoot first. First strike is pretty busted, and it's one resource, which sounds good. So we want to be Force or Republic. So to really take advantage of this, I wish there was another 5-drop that looked good, but even cheating out a Kanan a turn early is super reasonable. The blue-yellow Han 1 deck that I played in set 1 a little bit, like when you could play Kanan a turn earlier, a lot of people had a problem with that, so I'm down. Talking about Underworld, we have Kira, probably going to go in the sideboard. Another reason to be in this color palette is for the targeted hand disruption. So things like Kira, things like what's it called? Spark of Hope. We have that new card, Unmasking the Conspiracy, which is pretty interesting. Yoda is able to kind of gain cards up, right? Potentially, with R2 or with, like I don't know if we're going to, we'll put it in there. Like, blue, please? Where are you? With Foresight. So, like, again, you're keeping your guys alive. So, Unmasking the Conspiracy, if you're able to get a good hand, especially, like, in the control matchups, like, people aren't playing a ton of cards. So, being able to hit the exact card you want, I think, is super valuable. So, we're going to put that in at least the sideboard, Unmasking the Conspiracy. And then we're going to play... Ooh, that card's kind of interesting. Exhaust a non-unique unit. Create a clone trooper token. I think that, like, people are kind of sleeping on this card. Like, I think this could go well in... it's non-unique. Maybe it's just a draft bomb. But I like the idea of, like, tempo plus advance the board, right? And so, to me, this card is, like, something to keep an eye on and try out. However, does it get through? I don't know. We're talking about pumps. We're talking about Spark Rebellion. Pumps are really good because we have big booty cuties. That needle will help on the front end. So it's either like shoot first or what's it called? Shoot first or surprise strike that's getting us in there. And we're not gonna like these aren't gonna be. This could be like 2 in the main deck because it still works well with your friend, and then is like insulation against these token decks. Because I think that this type of strategy can have a little bit of trouble going with decks that go wide. And then if we're playing early big booty cuties or early force users, obviously we want to look at an old staple of Jedi lightsaber. Also goes very well on Yoda. Duh. You could look at things like devotion out of the sideboard. Some of this good stuff out of the sideboard. I think enticing reward is a really good card. I don't know if this is the package to take advantage of it, but we could dig, right? We could dig really hard for our combo. I just don't know how we're killing something. But so if we want to all in lean on the combo, we can play 3 enticing reward, and let's do that. Like when this is a great time to talk about this. When we're early in testing, when we're early in a meta, like I build my deck to do the kind of like the most broken thing possible, and even if that means it's too greedy and it doesn't work, like I want to start there. Like you can always scale back. Like this can always turn into like a quote unquote value deck, which a lot of decks are right now. But like it's okay to swing for the fences. Like who cares if you lose a playtesting game? Like that doesn't matter. Or a game at your locals if you're trying to figure something out. Like that's okay. The point for this is to give us well-rounded knowledge, so as the meta develops, we've tried all these cards and we know why. Like I get asked a lot when we put out deck lists, hey, why not this card? Why not that card? I've tested those cards. They're not cards that I just sleep on. And so when you see an early deck list from me, it is going to be leaning towards some of the new cards. So like it's really funny how caught up people get in lists, and I understand that. But the idea is that we are doing experiments, we're playing, and I know that part of the reason for watching content is so some of that gets done for you, but the best way to get better, and we've seen it through our Discord, we've seen it through our community, is a lot of people get better by doing the work, asking questions, and not always having the answers, and being open-minded and collaborative. So I will step off the soapbox just to say that I talked myself into enticing reward. That's all that was all that was there to do. And so if we're playing enticing reward, right, what do we want? We want something that collects the bounty and puts them out of play. So we'll play Sphere the Target over like a Waylay. Although Waylay is a good card and you should be thinking about it. Removal. We like removal in this deck. And you're going to start to notice we have way too many events, but that's okay because we are just figuring it out. I think Hello There is kind of, I wouldn't say being slept on because people just started playing the cards. I don't even have all my cards yet. I've opened one box. It is on the way. But this is a good way to deal with leaders. And so when building a deck, you need to have a plan for the popular leaders in the metagame. So this can just sit in there, and now that boba that everyone's worried about is like a 0-3. Very easy to clean up at that point. So we want this card. I think this card is very good. It just can feel clunky. But once we learn how to use it properly, I think it is going to become a huge asset. Holy moly, this is an event deck. We're not going to be able to play all these things. Obviously, we're already at 52 cards. So one of the things about... My dog is growling. Hey, can you not growl? I'm doing a video. Please, thank you. Do you want to say hi? Hold on. I'm not editing any of this out. Hey, say hello. He heard someone out in the street and he's being whiny. So now my other dog wants attention. Okay. The audio on this is going to stink for a second, but that's okay. Hey, can you not? Look at. Shh. Okay. So we got to fill out our deck. We need some space. We're considering, right? Okay. You gotta go. Go lay down. We tried, boys. All right, so when doing this early space thing, we need to consider, right, our combos. So this innocuous 2/3 ship actually becomes a lot better because we need early Republic things. You could also get really weird. Do we want this? So this thing, okay, this is a combo enabler, right? It bounces one of our things to be able to then play You're My Only Hope, and or not you. Now there are two of them with the Republic tagline. So I kind of like the idea of this. The only thing that I wish is like we had a way to cash on the 2 damage that if we're not on the play. Like these become very good on the play, not on the draw. Falcon bounces itself, so you're not worried there. I love this card, but I actually think it doesn't do that much in this deck because we need... Oh, I was going to say you can play the 1/4. I don't even know where it is. But it's like, that feels really bad. Like, yeah, it lives, but like it's like you need 2 cards to do anything. But we're going to start with Hotshot V-Wing. It might just be hot trash. We can play it with Shoot First at least. But that... we'll see. What are the things on the Separatist? Yeah, this thing, as much as I like this card, I think it might be one that doesn't do it for us. But we don't need too much space. We have Falcon that, like, when you're in those color palette, it should dissuade people from kind of getting in on you. I always like Redemption, although you could theoretically cut it. To me, Millennium Falcon, it's got Smuggle for the late game. It can come in there and crash into a ship. I like it. Thick booty to remove. So we're building out our units here. And so we've identified we're going force. We are trying to set up these things. So I'm going to start getting a little quick on this. Let's see, man. He's Republic. Like, you could play Typho. The only thing is, like, I don't know what you're sentineling. Whereas, like, Ezra just is kind of a harder thing to answer. We got Yodas. We got Luke's. Cheating on a Luke, never a bad thing. Cheating out a... See, that's the other thing is, like, if you want to go this route with the Underworld, you actually have the Han ability and Empis Nest. Obviously, you can't do it right on 3, but, I mean, come on, it's still pretty good. This is all live deck building process. All right, so, okay. We have a decent amount of units, so we have to cut 25 cards. This is going to happen really quick. We are going to have to pick a pump. We'll go with Surprise Strike. It also helps you close the game. As much as I love Takedown and some of this removal, it might have to go to the sideboard. We are leaned in as a combo deck, which means when we want to change to value deck, we can do that. We have 3, 6, 9 early drops. That's not quite enough. We'll have to look into that. If I was to trim, I would trim from here. Again, we are a combo deck. We can dip that. We want this to disrupt them. Okay, Foresight might have to go, but I love that card, but I get it. 15 cards is a lot. All right, Genosis, that's in the value deck. Probably not making it out here. The Falcon might be thin value. This is a lot. So when you look at your numbers in your building, 7 upgrades, 18 events, that is a high amount there. So Forces with me, I still really like. Jedi Lightsaber, still really like. Enticing Reward is getting our things. The only problem I wonder about Enticing Reward is can we cash it out? So we'll pick Foresight or Enticing Reward. We're doing Enticing Reward. We need Spare the Target. 10 cards. We got to cut 10 cards. We can cut 1 OB. We still have to get some earlier drops. We can go to... there's a lot of pumps. Maybe we ditch Surprise Strike because we have these 7 cards. Plus, we probably need another early drop. What's another good Republic early drop? Oh, you know who? So this is he's good and he digs, but he's Republic, he's official, he helps us dig. Again, we're a combo deck, we're playing favorable delegate. That is our last drop. Bye to you. I don't know if we actually need redemption here. We have restore, we have blocking, 8 cards. Enticing reward might just be a 2 force with me. I still really like spare the target. Hello there. I like all those things. Cutting 7 cards. We're never cutting a Luke. We are probably can go down to 2 spare the target, and so we never cutting these. These are early drops. 6 cards. Man, this is tough. Like, I like the redemption because it helps us do the things late. Is there anything else we want on the late end of this curve that could help us? Zillow Beast is a creature. That doesn't really work. Again, for the Underworld memes. You could play Luminara instead of... what's it called? You could play Luminara instead of Redemption, although she's not going to heal nearly as much. But she has an option. We'll put her in the sideboard. And again, this is the lens of a combo deck, so we want to be leaned in towards that rather than a value deck. 3, 6, 9, 10, 11, 12. So we probably only need like 11. So I say we go favorable delegate. I really want there to be payoff for cheating out an early force here, so I don't want to cut those. Enticing might just be too cute, and if enticing is too cute, then we can cut the spares. Because we have delegate R2 to dig. And now we're 3 cards. And when we're 3 cards, we could... Man, this guy's like such not great value. Hello there could be... You know what? If we're going to play it this way, we could go... Where is that thing? We're looking for payoff for our... It's a blue upgrade. Did this thing die on me? No. We're good. Perilous Position. And so Perilous Position would let us finish someone off when some of these cheapy boys do their thing. My only thing right here is we are leaned in towards the combo. We don't have as many ways to set this off. But once we get something out, we kind of can snowball a little bit. 13 events, 8 space units. Redemption. Well, if we have Luminara, then we could... All right, so we're leaned in towards just getting out an early Jedi and smacking. So with that in mind, we can do this. Okay. It's either Yoda or Ezra. I think Ezra has those off-the-top abilities. We also could play C-3PO. But he's a Jedi, so that hurts us a little bit. So let's look at this, right? Save the changes. Okay. Talking through the deck. Deck image. Come on, you can do it. You can do it. Come on. Come on. Oh, man. I don't want to have to edit this video at all. Okay. So we have, and we'll zoom out. Okay. 3, 6, 9, 12 first turn plays. That if we high roll, and I'm going to make myself a little smaller. If we high roll and have the combo, like now there are 2 of them right away, we're good. We have that ability to do it. R2 and favorable delegate both help us dig for that. From there, we are going to try to use some of our tricks, like hello there, an early lightsaber on one of our big fatties. Like, I mean, we have 5-ass, 5-ass, 4-ass coming out of the 2-drop, so you can put a saber on them, and you can start whacking people and then getting Yoda going. And one thing to pay attention to is, like, we don't need to spin our wheels here. If we can't get the combo off at the beginning, then we kind of just pivot and just play the game. We still have some good colors and some good synergies. But the main idea here is to go out and see how fast we can combo people. So That's what I would bring to testing. I would try to combo as quick as possible, as consistently as possible, and see how that feels. And it could be that cheating on a 5/7 isn't enough, and it's not going to work out. However, I think this would be the place to start in a combo deck like this. So, hey, Twilight Republic is here. I think we have a lot of cool options for deck building and playing the game, and it's very exciting. So, with that in mind, test it out and let me know how it goes.